Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of my King Tiger build. It's the Trumpeter 1/16 scale German World War II King Tiger. It's, believe it or not, despite the dirt and the debris on those wheels, it's going to be a white snow tiger before I'm through. But this is you kind of have to do some of this detail work before you get very far. That's actually white painted wheels that are just very dirty. Let me mention that real quick. Is I painted off white, which is called white gray. Come back in, do any rust, dings, dents, and I brush on some powder pigment that is really cool. It's like putting dirt on it, and then wipe it off, and you can see the white paint. It's just dirty. I had to paint the tracks also before I put them on. So all this area of the tank is really dirty. And I can't tell if you can see it or not, but if you look up underneath, it has the German yellow color underneath there. It would have been primed, that color, and before they would have painted it white. So that's dirty. And I'm kind of pre-painting as I go. The back panel is in place. This is actually the rear panel of the tank. But the exhausts go here. There's other details that go here. And there's a cover here. And when all that's in place, and I paint it and dirty it, and there'll be fender skirts or mud fenders and stuff. We'll have all that going on. But I've gotten a pretty good way here since the last video, or the first video. You can see the entire engine assembly, except for maybe one or two hoses, is pretty much intact. Now that's the engine itself there. That's the engine block there. These are some fuel tanks. These are fuel tanks. These are radiators with a fan that blows. That's a big open area under that fan, and it just, I guess, helps cool that water going through that engine. I mean, I can only imagine how hot that engine must get. And these little vent louvers and stuff on the tank, when I have it built, there will be slits here for airflow, and there'll be round, you'll see the round things over the, little guards over the fan blades there. And there'll be an engine door area with some lumps here. You really won't see much of the engine at all. And I am deliberating on making this panel removable, so that you can at least look in there and see some of that detail. Now back to the interior, you can tell it's dirty. I'm preparing for racks of ammo that are going to be right here, 88mm shells. There's these racks, and there'll be maybe 9 or 10 here and 9 or 10 here. They fill in those areas. The Germans didn't waste a bit of space. Der Commander here is looking over it, and he's inspecting it. And how is it, Commander? Is it coming along? By the way, I make no endorsement of anything to do with World War II Germans, Nazis, Hitler, or anything like that. I am merely a student of history. And the King Tiger, when I was a little boy, when I built model tanks, was simply my favorite. It just was something I thought was cool. I have, of course, learned there's anything but cool to be said about the Nazis and what they did. So it's with some regret that I still have an enthusiasm, but I can't help it. I loved tanks as a kid, and I always really will. And there's something about this machine. It's like the Imperial Walkers in Star Wars. There's something about German engineering and German machinery, even if it wasn't the most repair-free. I think this was a very high-maintenance machine. It often broke down. To be honest with you, this engine, which worked okay in a Tiger 1, and maybe a Panther. I'm not sure if it was used in the Panther or not. But those were much lighter tanks. And to use the same engine in a tank that's many tons heavier and longer and larger, it was really unfair to not only the tank and the crew, but, it made the thing, it overworked and overtaxed the engine. So it was constantly overworked. Yes, it's very dirty in here. I've gone with that dirt theme because I've looked at a lot of videos and images of tanks in the field when they're doing, and there's a lot of dirt and debris. Now this is where the turret, you can see that round area there. The turret will be above that. It will rest right in above that. And I have not decided whether to go with the so-called Henschel or Porsche turret. I just don't know yet. I'm leaning to the Henschel turret because it was the standard. And I want this to be a good example of a standard King Tiger. I just love the so-called Porsche turret. They were both made by Krupp. They were both made, you know, in one facility. The Porsche turret was designed for a totally different tank, but they made 50 before the bloody things were approved, really. So they put 50 turrets on King Tiger chassis, and the rest were all Henschels. So again, the Henschel turret is sort of the regular turret. Let's look at the driver's area for a second. I really am fascinated by that. There's a part of me wishes I could get in there and, you know, it's this dark zone. There's the seat, and he's actually got him a little wheel there. And he can, you know, he drives. He can either use, well, he can use a variety of methods of driving. And by the way, there is a front panel, a front plate that goes in the front of the tank. It will go inside right here. And yeah, I've already gone ahead and painted, put some rust and dirt and chips and stuff. The machine gun goes in that hole. That's where the machine gun goes. And it will line up where the machine gunner is over here. So when that's in place, there's an actual outer area that goes on, and we're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go ahead, get my cordage out of the way, and I'm gonna spin this around. You can't see anything now, but I'm gonna slide this one piece in. It's hard to get in there, but oh, there went my commander. He's been drinking on the job. Don't be doing that. All right. Now that's with the plate in place. And if you peek, you can see how the weathering I did now is now sloped extremely on the inside. And you'll probably hardly be able to see it. There's a plate here I'm going to make this removable. And there'll be a plate over the engine that I'm going to make removable. So you can see those two areas. The rest, you'll only see through the hole that the turret is in. You won't see anything that you're seeing now on the outer edges. You won't see any of that. And that's because, let's put this on. I like this because this gives me an idea of what the thing's going to look like. And then I slide that bad boy right down there, flush, and looky, looky, looky. Now that is the makings of a King Tiger tank. And it kind of blends with that back wall. We'll put Mr. Commander in here just for scale. You can kind of see. I think he's been drinking. He just doesn't want to stand. There we go. There we go. Now you get the scale. Now you get the scale. There we go. There's my King Tiger. And there will be a turret on this bad boy and hatches. This open plate will remove. This open plate will remove. I'm going to cover these two. So you can only see the fans and the all that stuff now. I'm going to seal those down. But I'm going to make the engine cover removable. I just don't like that area. I think it came out well. And you can now see that's all you'll be able to see on the inside, except there'll be shells in there. And that's pretty much it for now. This is the build, phase 2 of my King Tiger, probably Henschel turret, Snow Tiger. Next phase, I'm not sure if I will have gotten to the turret. I assume so, because I've got to build the entire interior of that. That includes the 88mm gun, which is incredibly detailed. And then there's a lot of stuff that goes on the outside. Tools, tow cables, hooks, you know, all kinds of stuff that's on the outside of this. This is the exterior of the tank. And no, I'm not going to put the Zimmerit anti-magnetic mine paste on it. I'm just going to leave it this you know, clear slick. I want to just see the tank. And I like Zimmerit. It's a cool look. but I just don't want to have to go through all the application. It's just a bit much for this build, and I just want to see the tank. So here's a king. Look at, oh, by the way, look how wide those tracks are. They do that to disperse the weight. You know, this thing was, I don't know, 80 something tons maybe. It was huge. It was definitely a heavy tank. Very long tank, nearly 24 feet long. Very big. When I put my Panther next to it, it looked small. I can't imagine how small a Sherman would look to it, or a Stewart. Anyway, all right, that's it for today. That's part 2. That right now looks like a really cool mod dirt machine. There's no weapons, and it's just a crazy commander driving it. I don't know. I don't have a name for my commander yet. One guy's called him Hans. I don't like that. It makes me think of Hans Gruber. I want to come up with another name for my commander. So we'll think on that. I may come up with a real commander name before I'm through. There was a guy that defended Berlin with 3 King Tigers at the end of the war. Don't know if I'll name it after him or not, but especially since the theater of war this was going to be painted for is maybe the Ardennes or something, Battle of the Bulge type thing. Again, I do not condone Nazism. I do not worship Germany in World War II. They were the bad guys. They were the enemy. We defeated them, thank God. Despite machines like this that made our machines look like little toys, we just had way more toys than they did, and their toys broke down. Thank God, so that we won the war. I tell you, just building these things is a lesson in history, and it's really amazing to learn. It may look cool, but it is a weapon of oppression, and it is a weapon that was not cool. But look at it like this again. Compare it to the Imperial Walkers in Star Wars. You know, I always thought that Germans and the Empire had a common aesthetic. So, anyway, you know, that's kind of what some of the Empire was based on, was the Nazis. Moving on, when we see this next, it's going to look much more along as a King Tiger than it is. But I'm quite proud of the build. It's been a pain in the butt and very hard. And I thank all of you who watch and have comments. Please comment. I don't care if it's good, bad, or different. I welcome any criticisms or suggestions. The model's not built yet. So, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys either part 3 or something that may come up between now and then. Take care and have a great, great day.